Buttercream rolled fondant. What a nice alternative for frosting a cupcake. I'm Jan.
And I'm Ronnie with Designing Dishes. You know, everyone loves a cupcake.
And we thought we would show you something a little bit different with our buttercream rolled fondant option. We hope you'll try it.
Our rolled fondant begins with 1 cup of light corn syrup, and many of you may know this by the brand name of Karo syrup. And to that we're going to add 1 cup of white shortening. Now this is not lard, it is shortening, and it is the white shortening. It's not the shortening that is butter flavored. That would make your fondant yellow, so you want to make sure that you're using the white shortening. We're going to combine that with the electric mixer. You want to do this in a large bowl because we're eventually going to be adding in quite a bit of powdered sugar. Now we're going to add our extracts. We have clear vanilla, that's a 1/2 teaspoon, and we also have a 1/2 teaspoon of butter flavored extract, and we have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Some people may wonder, why do we add salt to a frosting or a sweet product? The salt enhances the flavor. It actually brings out the flavor of your extracts.
We're now going to gradually add confectioner's sugar. 2 pounds that I have pre-sifted. The reason we pre-sift is to get all the lumps out. If you do not have a sifter, you can use a whisk or you can use a sieve. We're going to continue adding the powdered sugar until it becomes too difficult to use the mixer with. I'm continuing to add powdered sugar until it is too stiff to use my mixer. I have it on a very low speed at this time, otherwise it'd be flying all over the place. I've added all the powdered sugar. I'm mixing it just a little bit more so that the powdered sugar doesn't go flying. And I'm now ready to form this into a ball. I'm going to use my hands, which are clean, to continue kneading this together.
Now while Jan is kneading the fondant and making it come together in one ball, let me mention to you that there's several different types of fondant. Many of them use marshmallow cream. This one we call buttercream because of the butter flavoring that's in there, and this one does have a flavor. So many fondants have absolutely no flavor to them, but this fondant, because of the fact that we use the butter extract and the fact that it's a shortening based fondant, does have a nice buttery flavor that actually tastes good.
To knead this, turn it 1/4 of a turn, put your fist into it, and that does a good job of incorporating everything.
You can see that the fondant has incorporated almost all of the powdered sugar in the bowl, and you can also see the consistency, how stiff it is. We're really putting a lot of effort into pushing this together. But one of the reasons why you would want to make homemade fondant as opposed to buying it already prepared in a package is because it is so much more flavorful and so much more economical. I mean, think about it. All you've got here is 2 pounds of powdered sugar and a little bit of white corn syrup and a little bit of shortening. How cheap is that? It's very expensive when you buy it already made.
It is. It is very expensive.
Just about ready to begin working with it.
I think we are. We're ready. Here's our completed fondant. Remember, when you do knead this together, use your fist because it's such a stiff product. It works much better than your fingers.
These are some of the tools of the trade that you might want to use when you're rolling out your fondant. Now, of course, if you're not going to go professional or semi-professional, or if you're not going to do this very often, you can always roll your fondant on your kitchen counter. But to help you in the process of rolling, we have a mat that is made by Wilton, and it actually shows you the different sizes of circles so that you can roll within a circle and know specifically how big your circle is going to be. And then on the left side of the screen there is a a mold that is a round stainless steel mold that you can use to match up to the diameter of the cupcake that you're going to be decorating.
To roll out the fondant, you can use a rolling pin. We have a marble rolling pin that works very well. Another little tool of the trade is a fondant roller. This particular roller is a small one. It also comes larger. As you can see, there are rings on the end. These rings will come off, and this will help you measure 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch. And it's a great thing if you're going to be making multiple characters for the top of something.
Now in this container we have a mixture. It's a large sifter, and it is a mixture of 50% confectioner's or powdered sugar, and it is also 50% cornstarch. Now that's going to help the mixture to not stick to the countertop or to your rolling surface.
We have our fondant in front of us. I'm going to tear off a small amount of that. Put it in the center.
About a third or a fourth that you tore off?
No, I would say even a sixth.
Okay.
I'm just using a small amount to begin with. So again, I'm forming it into a circle, trying to get it pliable. I'm going to press it out a little. Now I'm going to use my small fondant roller. I have the 1/8 inch rings on the end. That will help me as I'm rolling this out determine the exact thickness of the fondant. It's a great little tool.
So when it's 1/8 of an inch thick, these little rings will show you that basically.
Yes, it will not make it any thinner. It will keep it at that thickness, because as you're rolling this out, it will continue.
It's like to govern the thickness of the fondant.
Yes, it is. It is. I could have used a smaller piece, but I want to show you when using a large piece, especially if you're going to be covering a cake. Okay, let's just stop at this a minute, and I'm going to pat it out just a minute and get some more confectioner's sugar on the top to make it easier to roll out.
It's kind of like pie dough. You have
Yes.
to keep something under it and something on top of it.
Yes, exactly. In fact, I'm just going to work on the edge here so I can get it all ready to... And I'm going to take my cookie cutter at this corner, and this particular cookie cutter is the exact size that will be covering our cupcake. We're ready to frost our cupcakes.
And we're going to begin first with some buttercream frosting.
Yes.
And that's really not necessary, but it just adds a real wonderful flavor. And who doesn't like buttercream frosting?
Right. You're just going to put a thin layer of this on. And another reason we like to do this is the fondant will adhere to the cupcake much easier. We've cut out all of our circles. This recipe will make 24 frosted cupcakes or an 8-inch round cake.
And just, I want you to think for 1 minute how much you would pay if you went to a bakery and had an 8-inch cake with roll fondant made for you. It would be tremendously expensive, and remember we talked about how inexpensive this is to make.
It is, it is. Now, this recipe will store in your refrigerator if you put it in a sealed container for 2 to 3 months without any problem.